All right. So, Black student mental health matters. A look at how the differences in stress levels affect the well being of Black students at PWIs and HBCUs.
My name is Belema Derefaka. I am a freshman psychology major from Louisiana at Howard University.
And my name is Esohe Omoruyi. I'm a sophomore psychology major from Atlanta, Georgia at Howard University.
So, the point of this project to us was to answer the question: are African American students more likely to academically prevail and be stress free when surrounded by individuals who look like them? And that's important to us because we're both African American females who go to Howard University, and we really wanted to see what we could find. So this PowerPoint is kind of going to show you the inverse relationship between uncomfortable environments and mental health, as well as compare Black student mental health at predominantly white institutions and historically Black colleges and universities through stress levels. So the definition of stress is an unpleasant state of arousal that arises when we perceive the demands of a situation that threaten our ability to cope effectively. And a little history on this project. W.E.B. Du Bois' theory of double consciousness. He stated that Black people were forced to mentally have two identities and pressure to view themselves as they are seen by their non-Black peers. And that kind of relates to us and many Black individuals who go to PWIs who kind of have the balance between each. And researchers have linked this to mental health problems that go unnoticed in the Black community.
Modern day Black student stress. Basic stressors any college student has to face: money, grades, homesick, social life. American Institute of Stress in 2017 says that in the past 5 years, frequent stress episodes are up 20% in college students and is likely to continue to increase for subsequent years. So this is just some information on the modern day Black student stress. Now, PWI versus HBCU, environmental differences. In HBCU, usually is a small total campus population, small campus sizes, majority Black student demographics, high social support, and low alumni donations. Now, the PWI you usually have, in most cases, a large campus population, large campus sizes, majority white student demographic, low social support, and a high alumni donations. The effects of hostile racial environments. You can feel unsafe, lack of true community and self-identity. This is consistently correlated with higher stress levels. Feeling like you're in it alone, there's no one to talk to, ostracized from the majority of campus. Social pain can hurt as much as physical pain. Inability to make friends or feel comfortable going out. And personally, my friends at PWIs that I've talked to that are African American have experienced these things. They have had slurs thrown at them. Sometimes they don't feel like they belong. And sometimes they feel like they're being ostracized amongst their peers because they are not white in most cases. Racial climate on PWI campuses.
So this is just some of the relevant or some things that came to the limelight about what's happened recently on campuses, and many of these tensions were racial, like especially the KKK members being on campus or blackface on campus. Just because they're in the limelight doesn't mean these are the only instances of what has happened. There's other instances, but they just haven't made it to the news yet, per se. So this is our literature review. What have previous researchers discovered about this?
Comparison of the stress levels and GPA of African American college students at historically Black and predominantly white institutions. This was a study conducted by Yashika Woods. Our results were African American students at PWIs experienced higher levels of stress than African American students at HBCUs and white students at PWIs. Woods in 2005. GPA and stress levels have a significant negative correlation. GPA decreases as stress levels increase. Stress levels and social support have a significant negative correlation. Stress levels decrease as social support increases. Continued. Insensitive attitudes from faculty and staff, low academic expectation from professors, and unfair grading and advising is what most African Americans have said to have experienced during their schooling at PWIs. White faculty at HBCUs were seen as less approachable and concerned about African American students' well being than African American faculty. Chisholm and Satcher, 1998. African American students rated their perception of faculty, administrators, and staff at their PWI as being generally unsupportive, and this has been proven in many different cases. Racism and social support were explored as factors contributing to stress. A negative correlation was found to be significant with social support and stress. As stress increased, social support decreased. Racism was not found to be a significant factor of stress. Continued. African American students may not approach white faculty and students for help, not only because they do not feel they know how, but also because they do not know how they will be viewed or reacted to. For African Americans, coping methods were not significantly associated with psychological or physical health. A strong positive connection to one's ethnic group reduced the magnitude of the association of racial discrimination experiences. The stress of experiences of discrimination and the acceptance of the societal stigma of inferiority can have deleterious consequences for health. General and race-related perceived stressors, as measured by the BSSI, were related to psychological distress.
So this kind of starts off our project now that we kind of touched up on the background of why we're doing this research. So the question once again is, are African American students more likely to academically prevail and be stress-free when surrounded by individuals who look like them? So our hypothesis that we concluded together is that HBCU African American students are more likely to prevail than African Americans at PWIs. So the way we're going to design this project is we're going to use a self-report. And that being said, we're going to use a survey, and among the survey, we're going to use a Likert scale. So in our opinion, this method is appropriate for this proposal because it will allow us to rapidly collect vast amounts of data at a low cost. This research design will allow us to give each subject a stimuli, which is a question, and get a response. This will also allow us to compare one person or a group of people's results to thousands of others, and in this case, it'll be about 200 others. So for the method that we're going to use 200 African American students from 2 different universities, and they're going to participate in a student opinion survey. So 100 of students will be from Howard University, which is an HBCU, the Mecca. The second will be 100 students from Georgetown University, which is a PWI. In our opinion, this number is large enough to test for variability between each survey, but small enough to look for similarities. So 100 participants in the study. The 100 participants in the study from each university will be randomly selected from the population of African American students at each institution. The study will be among college juniors. They will be given a survey at the end of the school year, and their GPA will be calculated.
Now for the survey, there will be 5 items on the survey that will thoroughly assess the ratings of each institution. There will be institutional support, academic achievement, study habits, peer relations, and academic integration. The response style will be given in the form of a Likert scale, as Belema said previously. The procedure and data analysis. 100 African American juniors will be randomly selected from Howard University, and another 100 will be selected from Georgetown University. Students must fill out a form regarding their age, high school GPA, high school racial congruency, and socioeconomic background. Students will track their emotions regarding their university throughout the academic year. Students will be given a Likert scale addressing their satisfaction of their university. Items on the Likert scale include institutional support, academic achievements, study habits, peer relations, and academic integration. Data will be analyzed. To analyze the data, we use the quantitative research method in the form of a Likert scale to test the theory. We will use Pearson's correlation coefficient to relate the juniors' accounts of their age, high school GPA, high school racial congruency, and socioeconomic background to their current status at their university, which results were given in a Likert scale. That's pretty much our study.